Welcome back again. So it's Friday night, which most nights on Friday means it's time for the X Files. So joined again by Rambo. How you doing, man? It's good to see you as always. Peace.
Thanks for having me. I added yet another case for this to talk about X Files. But
Can't run out, man. It's a taste that beats Mountain Dew.
yeah,
And
baby, yeah.
as always, Stuntman Mark, who has basically become the savant of the X Files.
I do what I can.
Yeah. So any questions that you have related to any specific episodes or story arcs, especially in the mythology, please direct them to Mark as he will know all of this shit off the top of his head. So I guess it's a little bit different tonight because this is the first time that we're going to talk about leading into seasons 6 and 7. We're going to talk about the movie and what a huge deal that this was when it came out too. And I went to see it in the theater when it came out, and was pleasantly surprised because a lot of times at least I was, movie spinoffs to TV shows suck ass, but this one I did not think that was the case at all. What were your guys' experience like? Like, I mean, in terms of, did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? Like, what did you think?
Yeah, I pretty much had to, because at the time, that was probably 93. So I was probably 15. So I just pretty much one of the few films I got to see in the theater at that time, because that's when I lived on a farm in Iowa, and the movie theater was like 50 minutes away. I had to cross the Minnesota border to go see it if you want to see a movie at the theater. And I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed seeing those characters in a sleek enough budget. Like, it was nice to see. X Files was still a good looking show, but it was nice to see a bit of a budget behind it. It was nice to see some pretty capable actors. I think Armin Mueller Stahl, much older actor, he's one of the syndicate. It was weird to see because I know of the show Millennium. So there's an actor, Terry O'Quinn, the stepfather. He plays like a different character.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets blown up at the beginning, and so I was a bit confused. I'm like, is that the same? Is that supposed to be the same person? No, it's not. So I'm a bit confused by that. But it was good. The only disappointment I had was that it promised people to have answers, and it's like it kind of went in a circle where like you did get to see the alien in the ship, but it's like it seemed like I remember the promotion being it's going to be the end all. The answers will be said, but they couldn't because they had more seasons to go. So it's like we'll tell you a little bit, but the rest of fuck you, you know. And I understood why, but I was a little bit bummed by that. That was really my only bummer with it. But overall, it was still nice to see. I thought it was like you said, not a lot of TV to movies are good.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the sequel came out and it sucked a lot of dicks.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that eventually, but yeah, that's actually an On the Road too that we have, and it was rough because I was really trying to be positive, but it did suck a lot. But anyway, Mark, what did you think about the first film?
I loved it. Obviously, I'm probably a little bit biased just because I'm such a big fan. But yeah, I had no idea what they were going for with it. I mean, I clearly saw some mythology type stuff going on in it, but it really gave you a lot, but not all the answers, like Rambo said. You got to see all the stuff with the bees and stuff, how the germination and the pollination and the Africanized honeybees were going to be utilized for the recolonization. You didn't get
Not the bees.
Right. You didn't get the answers that you wanted until season 6, which comes right after the movie.
Yeah.
And I would say for anybody in the chat that wants to know the basis and the best sum up of the mythology would be the two-part episode, Two Fathers, One Son. Mostly the episode One Son is the culmination of everything. There's a big scene in there. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but there's a big scene in there with the cigarette smoking man where he gives you a really big rundown of like everything that's going on because Mulder like he confronts him and then like they have this big huge showdown, so to speak, but mostly verbally, not physically. But yeah, it's the movie itself great. I mean,
But somebody mentioned in here, and I completely agree with this about the movie too. If you were to, and I think I did show this to Wes at one point in time, and he liked it. If you were to show this to anybody that was like not even an X-Files fan that had no idea like what the X-Files was, it still can be like a really enjoyable film. So as like a standalone movie, like it's good, and as a part of like the whole like character and story arc, it's good. So it fits really well both those ways, and it had a really decent budget. It looked amazing. It had some great effects and like the aliens, the way that they looked, and especially like when they're whatever that was, like you call it like a cocoon or whatever that that they showed of the aliens was amazing. Like the special effects work in it was great. The black oil work was good. Even the visual effects at that time, we're talking like 98, something like that, were really, really good for that period of time. So yeah, and I couldn't believe that they like infected a kid basically in the beginning of the movie. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like
that
right
was
off the bat.
That was the actor Lucas Black.
Yeah.
Who probably is most well known now for the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I remember he was on this TV show way back in the day, American Gothic, that didn't last too long. That had God, I forgot what it was, like a paranormal show as well. I forgot who the hell if everyone's seen Office Space, you know the boss that's like, coming.
Gary something. That guy's name I can't think
of. He was the evil guy in that show, and interesting show for people who like X-Files. It didn't last too long. Were you at all, either of you, upset that you wish they had given more answers, or that maybe it's just me, it felt like there's going to end all be all and they kind of had to hold back? Were you disappointed a little bit with that?
I just remember marking the fuck out that there was a movie.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I even it wasn't until later on when I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like when I look back and I was like, well, they really didn't they really didn't solve anything in this movie. They just kind of it was just there for the sake of being there. But still, like I was really just excited at that time period that they made a movie. So it
gave you a lot of stuff. I mean, in hindsight, when you go back, like there's quite a bit of things in there. It's not the major reveal, but it does give you quite a few things. There's so many. I guess we could start at the beginning. So at the beginning of the film, there's a huge explosion in what I believe is the FBI building. They're looking for a bomb.
That's what Rambo was talking about, where Terry O'Quinn is trying to defuse the bomb, and he's like, "Oh shit!" He realizes like what's going on.
And we also see him try to pretend to defuse the bomb, but he doesn't. He doesn't do it because he's a part of everything that's going on, and I believe Martin Landau's character says that he's a patriot, and he did it because they wanted him to. The explosion was to cover up Lucas Black's infected body and 3 firemen that had been infected by the black oil. I know that probably sounds very overly elaborate, like to blow up a fucking building to cover up, some infected bodies, but that's how the syndicate sort of does things. So yeah, they had to open big though.
And that was a great set piece scene too. But I remember you could get figures of the infected firemen. You remember that shit?
I don't really.
Yeah. Wow. That was when they put out all of the action figures. Was for the movie. It was the movie tie-in, and you could get the infected firemen. You could get crazy. Mulder and Scully and all the rest. But then they had the really weird ones, which were the alien husks. that you could see through, and then like
Okay.
the and all that difference. I wish I still had those somewhere. I wish I would have got them, like, but I cannot find them. Like I had that whole collection of like whatever they were because I bought them at the time. But yeah, if anybody listening, like, you want to go on eBay and just look up like that whole line of action figures, and some of them are pretty hilarious. But yeah,
Are they pricey or not
I
really?
don't think so, because I think they mass produced the hell out of them to the point where, like,
Got
even
it.
now you can get them for, I think, between $10 to $20, like,
Okay.
on eBay.
Okay, I'll check into that. Cool.
And I think they had the gray alien was in there, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I'd have to look back now, but like, I know that. Oh yeah, an alien on a stretcher. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
But anyway, so okay,
One thing I remember of the movie is that Chris Carter really hated Independence Day, so he had Mulder piss on the poster.
Yeah,
I mean,
alley.
that was a great scene.
He ain't wrong.
I mean, that movie stole some ideas from X-Files. There's quite a few things in there, like they were ripping it off. I mean, it was the hottest thing, though, you know, when it comes to aliens.
Nah, I ain't gonna stand for this chicanery of shitting on ID4. What is the deal here?
Listen, man. Listen,
Will Smith.
That's
gonna slap you.
That's a hard watch after that, isn't it? Like, just knowing what you know now, like, it's hard to watch him in anything.
Yeah, it is, honestly.
And that Randy Quaid being crazy before we knew he was crazy.
Yeah, he's basically just playing himself in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be a little saner in that movie, because at least he's like drinking and stuff, and he's just normally like insane.
That was real alcohol, people.
But okay, so they cover up the explosion, or they have the explosion to cover up the bodies and the infections and things like that. And so this is the black oil segment where you find out like how they're transmitting the virus and things like that, which is what you were talking about earlier, which is primarily through the colonization of all these bees and things like that too. And I'm trying to remember. So Martin Landau is like the X character in this, right here. He's like the
he's one of the founding members of the syndicate, along with Mulder's father, which I don't know if we touched on him at all. So in season 2, he's introduced Bill Mulder. He's also
Jesus, I forgot about him. Yeah,
he's killed in the same season by Alex Krycek. Mulder chases Krycek down, and he's about to shoot Krycek, but he doesn't get to pull the trigger because Scully shoots Mulder, which may trip some people out, but she only did it to protect him. If he had killed Krycek with that gun, then there would have been no way to prove that he didn't shoot his father, because that's the same gun that was used to kill his dad. So
how many times did they either like draw their guns on each other or shoot each other in that fucking show? I'll bet it had to be a good 20 times that they like pulled their guns on one another.
There were a lot of gun draws on each other, but I think that was the only time one of them shot each other, when Scully shoots him.
Yeah. From right off the bat too, I think from like season 1 they drew guns on each other in ice. Like
yeah. So another big revelation right after that, they find out that they're being blamed. Mulder and Scully are being blamed for the explosion. So Mulder's like, no way, we need to do some digging. He comes across Martin Landau's character. He tells him, go back and dig. There's a reason why this happened. I worked with your father. I used to be a part of the project, but we both left. So Mulder does his digging, and Scully as well tags along and finds one of the bodies. They go to like a morgue area. She checks it out, and she's like, there's no way he could have been killed by an explosion, because she sees that the gestation version of the black oil has commenced. The syndicate tried to cover the whole infection up by using the explosion. So that's another thing that's sort of a revelation. The entire time, the syndicate thinks that they're working with the colonists for colonization, and they think that all the work that they're doing with the alien embryo that they have is for creating an alien human hybrid for a slave race, but it's actually not. It's for repopulation and not recolonization. So they see that once that person was infected, it's sort of like to describe it for the chat, it's like picture Alien when the face hugger implants an embryo. Same deal. It sort of uses your life force to grow inside you, and then it bursts out of your chest. Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell you one thing, if they watch an episode of Kardashians, they realize this human race thing ain't worth it. You're going to leave for pastures somewhere else. It ain't worth it.
But I remember too, there was something about like weren't they out in the desert somewhere, like underground, like where they were doing the majority of this stuff?
So the desert sequences that's where the I don't even know how to describe the corn that's being grown. It's like genetically altered in some way. And that's where the bees like do their thing. They become infected with it, but they're harvesting the bees and keeping them out in the desert. So you have all these like, it's like a giant ventilation system or something they're keeping them in. And that's where you have the scene where all the flaps open, the bees come out, and Mulder and Scully run away. But there's one of the bees gets caught like under Scully's collar.
Oh,
and stings her later.
Yeah.
And then that's how she gets infected.
Did you think that was a bit weird, though, that out of the millions of bees, that one of them sting them, and then the one bee that gets caught waits like a whole like flight trip, whatever they went to DC?
It waits until they're about to have their kiss, and then it
is buried under.
You're right, because that was the huge thing at that point in time. Was like, are they ever going to kiss or whatever? And like the movie you see, they put that in the fucking trailer. Yeah. Them like moving together to kiss, and then the fucking bee. Yeah.
The bee just living like right here.
What a call!
And I don't know if it's sleeping or
that bee's a cuck.
The whole flight.
That's awesome.
That is hilarious though. Like, what the fuck is that bee just like sitting around?
Right.
He's kind of waiting
for his
whole flight. Yeah.
Waiting for his cue card. Got a little earpiece.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the one.
Yeah. I think another big thing was also the introduction of the leader of the syndicate, Conrad Strughold. You see him for the first and only time. He gives his orders. I think the well-manicured man is like late to the meeting. So he's filled in that, this is not recolonization. It's repopulation. They've been lying to us. They've been using us all along. So I believe it's season 4. Krychek makes out of the gulag that the Russians have him and Mulder imprisoned in, but he manages to steal the vaccine. He gets back to America, not before having his arm cut off. So he's a one-armed assassin. There's a group of men that cut off his arm because they don't want him to proceed with vaccination tests and trials. So he goes back, even though he only has one arm. But I think it's kind of cool. He's a one-armed assassin. So he gives the vaccination or the vaccine to the syndicate. They figure out that it works. And they figure, well, now we have a chance to fight back against colonization, which comes to, it plays a much bigger role within the movie as well. Because at the end of the movie, you have Mulder with the vaccine. It's given to him by the well-manicured man. And the well-manicured man, who's played by John Neville, commits suicide with a car bomb. Because he's just sort of done with the whole thing, and he knows that it's over. Like we're not going to win this, And then in season 5, that you have the whole interplanetary war with the rebel aliens, and they're doing their thing. They think about siding with them in season 6, but I'm jumping the gun. You guys go ahead. Anything else you guys got?
No, just this movie. It was an amazing movie, and it made a shit ton of money. So I think overall it grossed like worldwide about close to $200 million.
Right.
So it was a huge hit. And by the way, like I think there was only originally supposed to be 5 seasons of the X-Files, but it was so like huge that they ordered like other seasons after it got like as popular as it did. And after the movie did as well as it did, then they definitely did. And this was this story always kills me too, just because I think David Duchovny is kind of a douche, but in real life, I mean, so this is this movie and the subsequent season 6 is kind of what led them to go to Los Angeles, primarily because like David Duchovny wanted to get into movies more. So he wanted the whole thing to be moved to LA. Now, a couple things about that I think are pretty interesting. Like there was a couple of people that wanted it. Like Gillian Anderson she wasn't opposed to it or anything, but he was really the main kind of figure, and Chris Carter was totally against it. By the way, them moving to LA for this reason, which I think is a really good reason. Like everything was like at least 10 times more expensive to shoot in LA than it was in Canada. So like all of the stuff that they could do relatively like cheaply, like the special effects and the set pieces and things like that, now cost a flat out fucking fortune. So like a lot of that either wouldn't be done in the seasons coming up, or it would be scaled back like quite a bit. So you wouldn't see a lot of the huge kind of like explosion set pieces, like shit like that would cost a fortune in LA to do, which I think ultimately that might have been the thing that hurt that show more than anything, was just how much it cost to film now that they moved to LA too.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when you have that much money, lack of it at your disposal, it's like, well, what more can you do? And then so you can't be as, definitely lost a bit of that atmosphere. While there are a lot of episodes that do like afterward, you lose a little bit of that. Just, I don't know if it's just where they shot in Vancouver, the woods, the certain other settings. It felt gloomier. It felt like a darker, gloomier look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I just think they had a lot more money to throw behind it too. And also, like you're right, like it had the first 5 seasons had a really specific look that I can't really like explain, but like they never duplicated it after that. And when you go back and watch, I was talking to Garrett the other day, and he watched like a couple of these shows. I don't know why the son of a bitch won't get on the shows, but he won't. But like he watched a couple of these shows, and he was like, "Oh man!" Like I went back and watched some of the episodes, and like it made me feel like I did back when I originally watched them. And that's the effect that it has. Like it has like a real nostalgic kind of effect when you go back and watch those old episodes. It's like a time period. It's like lost in time, but in that one period of the 90s.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you feel after like season 6 or 7, they should have just gone the Star Trek route and just done movies instead of more seasons?
Well, they definitely like were hot in terms of doing that. I don't know why they didn't do another movie sooner. I'll say that for sure. Like they should have because when was the next one? 2009? Was that the
2008? So 10 years later.
Yeah.
They did the next
so it's like, yeah, they should have done something like probably to piggyback off the success of that, probably at least a year or two after that. Yeah, they should have made another movie. They should have had movies tying in to like different seasons all the way through that, to the end. But like I said, once I got to LA, shit just kind of, I mean, not the quality of the episodes, I don't think, but just the budget goes up. And like it slowly, like the popularity slowly starts to fade of the show. It's just a combination of like a bunch of bad stuff at one time that happened.
That whole dark atmosphere, which we touched on this a little bit before, like that really like gloomy, dark, dreary atmosphere. And all the stuff, like there were so many episodes where they're in the forest. And I think
yeah, you're right.
But it's not a bad thing because
no, it's not.
Like the production value, you just couldn't substitute it with the streets of LA. I mean, it doesn't have that same like dark atmosphere to it at all. It just doesn't. Like, I mean,
no,
like you
and
said,
you see it. You see it a lot more in the coming like seasons too, like stuff like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Carter said like it kind of forced them creatively to try to work harder because they couldn't waste a dime at this point. They had so much money invested, they couldn't waste a dime. Like the studio was going to be on their ass if they fucked anything up. And I think he kept promising them more episodes where they would save some money, which is why one episode in particular did happen, and it was specifically out of budget restraint and him trying to save them some money. It's the How the Ghost Stole Christmas episode, because it's all in one location.
All in one. It's in the house. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some big episodes too, though. I mean, big set piece kind of episodes in season 6, anyway. Which, by the way, like leading into this, I'm going to go to the chat here in a second because we got a lot of people on here comment. But like leading into this show, I went back and, of course, like looked up, what the seasons were and everything in the episodes. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I think season 6 might actually be my favorite season, and I thought it was season 5. But for some reason, and don't fucking kill me about this, Mark, but for some reason, season 6 might be my favorite because it has the most standalone episodes. It has to. Like, in terms of like Monster of the Week episodes, like I think it has the most of any season.
I will agree that 100%. It's probably the best season post 1 through 5. I think season 6 for sure has some of the best. I think it only has 5 mythology episodes, and then the rest are all Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
Now, season 5 was much shorter because they were shooting the movie. I think that was only 20 episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 6 is really solid. I won't disagree. Although I do have a big soft spot for season 8. For me personally, I think season 6 and season 8 are some of the best. But that's just me. I think for mythology, season 8 is where it's at.
I think that season 3 and season 3, 5, and 6 like might be my favorites. Like, I think that those are all pretty solid seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, season 3 is my favorite, but this is a really. I was surprised. Like, yeah, there's a lot of good ones here that we'll get to. There's a lot of good ones.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I don't want to bury the lead, but
well, and depending. Here's the thing: depending on what kind of X-Files fan you are, right? Because some X-Files fans do not like the humor episodes, and there's a lot of them in this. In 5 and 6, there's a lot of those type of episodes. Now, I always like that. I always like those episodes. I know there's some people that are like dead fucking serious, like against that type of thing being in the show, but I always liked them, and that's probably why I like those 2 seasons quite a bit too. So just keep that in mind if you're watching this. If you're not into like, I don't know, dark humor kind of episodes of things like that, then you probably won't like these seasons that much. Okay, so to the chat, we've got Jackson here, as always. Appreciate that. Dude loves movies. It's awesome to have you in here. Scratch Burno's in here. Wild Wrangler's in here. Afro Whale's in here. Marlo Prescott is in here. Jack Frost. Cole Warner's Movie and Game Chamber. Now that's a new one.
Oh, cool. Welcome.
He says, see what you think about this, Mark. He says the last good X-Files season was season 8. And he wants you to fight him.
I don't disagree. I love season 8, honestly.
Let's see. I'm not going to go through all because some of these are going into episodes that we haven't even got into yet. And we haven't talked about the X-Files Simpsons episode yet, but that's a great one too.
Oh yeah, that is cool. I
was loud because someone mentioned like David Duchovny's in the You People. I'm like Eddie Murphy. I'm like, great. The movie like Jonah Hill looks like he's melting. Like, he's melting. He's melting.
Does it me or does that movie just look like something that you will not like? Like there's something about that cast.
Twitter. It looks like Twitter.
it looks like a movie representation of Twitter. Yeah.
I don't know what Joe Hill did. He's like got a tan and then he like melted, but he got bigger, but he melted. I don't know what happened. And
I don't either.
I'm like, great. I don't want more movies about how white people are awkward and suck. Yeah, I've never seen that before in a movie in this year.
Isn't decade. It like I think it's like a loose remake of the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
It is, yeah.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. That's what it kind of looked like.
All right. This is a good question, though. What are your thoughts on the soundtrack to the movie?
Oh, it's awesome. My favorite track is the one that plays during the end credits. It's really good. Mark Snow is untouchable in my book.
It was amazing, yeah. I remember liking that even back then, which I would have been like in high school. So yeah. So Cole Warner's ranking goes like this: seasons 3, 2, 1, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Yeah, I mean 11. I like how 9, 11, and 10 are all thin.
Yeah.
It's not. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's not a bad order.
Yeah. All right, so let's just get into season 6 then. So from the top, I guess. Now, how do you want me to do this? I'll let people decide how you want me to do it. We can just do it like this, or I can bring up the share screen, like whichever way you want me to do it.
Yeah, that works.
Somebody on here give me some feedback in the chat, like if you want us to just talk about it like this, or if you want me to bring up the actual episode order. I've got them all like right here. I can't believe how many good ones there are in the season, man. Like I did not remember the season 6 being like
it's so solid. Yeah. So solid.
So he said,
Uncle Bill, back to your question. God damn it.
You motherfuckers, answer me. What's your favorite hot sauce? What the fuck?
Thanks, Afro Will.
Actually, I prefer Frank's.
Great,
Frank's is pretty solid hot sauce. All right, let's just do it like this, so I don't have to fucking worry about my computer exploding. All right. So, the first episode of season 6, which aired November 8th, 1998, and drew 20 million people, is aptly titled "The Beginning," and that's where Mulder and Scully are hunting for a deadly creature in the Arizona desert, and Jeffrey Spender and Diana Foley take over and reassigned to the X-Files.
Right.
What are your memories of this episode, Mark? Because I'm completely drawing a fucking blank right now.
I love that episode because it directly follows a lot of the events from the movie. It's like the perfect, almost mini semi-sequel to the movie. It's really, really good. There's quite a bit of blood at the opening. You have this group of men work for the company called Roush. They drop off one of the employees. He's infected with the black oil, although they don't know that. And he's like sweating and like looks unwell. So he turns up the heat in his like house, which is a big no-no because that only furthers the gestation. Like the aliens need that. Like they have to have constant heat and a nice amount of it actually to gestate, and it just makes it go so much faster. That's why, like in the movie, you see in the very first shot of the movie, you have those Neanderthals that are like running. It's like 35,000 BC or something.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they come across one of the, I believe they call it the reptilian version of the alien, and it hasn't matured into a gray alien yet because of the ice, and that's also why the colonists leave initially. It's first found out that they were the first inhabitants of the planet, but they left due to the ice age. They can't take the cold, and eventually
I forgot all about
oil
that.
gets frozen, and then they find it later, and that's where we open at the beginning of the movie.
You know who else needs like a lot of heat all the time?
No, who?
Women.
Harlem Heat.
God damn, they burn me up in this fucking house all the time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like I don't need it to be 85 degrees in here all the time.
No.
But aliens and women always need heat. Anyway, so
about Harlem Heat, you got some Booker T there.
That's right.
I think real quickly, I think this is when I was starting to lose interest in conspiracy. Not because it was a bad episode, but after like the first movie, there was a part of me, I was watching this when it came on. I'm like, can we wrap this shit up? Like I was kind of that reaction. Like I would kind of skip I would watch them, but if I rewatch them, I just pretty much just go to the standalone episodes at this point. Because I don't know why, just for some reason, I'm like, can we wrap this shit up? Like
that's what
it was
Carter
interesting
said.
at first. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Did he
what
say
Carter
that?
said. Oh yeah, he said that like it's time. We have to wrap up the syndicate. We got to end all this shit.
Okay.
Like the fans are owed the explanations that they've been looking for. They need to have some sort of a resolution with all this stuff because it's gone. It's run its course. And that's why they do wrap it up. And not even at the end of the season. By the end of the season, we go into a whole other different type of mythology
But
stuff.
remember, this don't exist. Is the revival. None of this happened. It's just
Don't,
card full.
dude, don't remind
Yeah,
me.
we're just wasting. You're wasting all your time, Mark, talking about this because it doesn't even real.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
That real.
God.
Aliens don't exist. Mulder don't believe. Chris Carter has his head up his ass. He still smells like roses. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Chris Carter.
A couple questions here, real quick. People got.
Yeah.
So first of all, Marlo wants to know if our favorite episode overall is Home. It's definitely up there in my favorite episodes. I don't know if I would call that my favorite episode or not anymore.
It's too hard for me to pick. I'm too in love with the show to pick
Yeah.
one is my favorite.
That's my easy answer. I mean, if I thought about it more, maybe there would be another one. But I will say that was the episode that, of all the episodes I saw, that stuck with me with what they're able to get away with and being unique compared to the others. Like, it gets dark, but it was surprising just how dark that got. So as of right now, I would say, yeah, that's my personal favorite episode if I had to pick one.
At one time or another, it was mine too, just because for the same reason, just how crazy it got. Like, but I don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of like thinking it's hard for me to pick one too.
And it's prequel to Wrong Turn, so it's got some historical.
Listen,
relevance.
I don't give a shit. Everybody should know that is a fact that they just stole that whole premise and the characters from that fucking episode. What's up, Business Affair? All right. So
man.
after the beginning, we got one that I thought was a really, really solid episode 2, solid kind of standalone episode, which is Drive.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good one because this is the one where Mulder is kind of like trapped in this car with this guy. And the whole episode takes place basically inside this car with him driving around. Is he trying to escape the law or something like that? Like
he's trying to escape the subsonic frequency noise that only he can hear because
that's right. Okay,
it's going to make like his inner eardrum.
Because you gotta do two things, right? A certain speed and also a certain direction.
Yeah,
certain direction, certain speed. Otherwise, his head, something in his ear, or his head blows up. Or is
it's a noise. It's actually based off of a real phenomena that people really experience. Of course, the episode takes it to a little bit of a heightened degree, but it's if any of you guys are Unsolved Mysteries fans, there's an episode called The Hum. So I'm sure it's on YouTube. Check that out. That's really good. So it's like a pitch that only certain people can hear. It affects like less than 5% of the population in various parts of the world. And there's like a whole research thing about it. And yeah, they have this issue where they can keep hearing it, but nobody else can. No matter what direction they go in, they feel like if they go closer to it, maybe it'll stop, or if they go further away, but it's still the same constant like pitch. So that's what it's kind of based on.
That's what, yeah, you're right. So he was trying to drive in a certain direction to relieve the pressure in his head. And wasn't there some other angle too where they were trying to figure out, like, okay, why is this one person not experiencing it? It turns out like she's deaf.
Yeah.
And like that's why she's not like having the same kind of, yeah, okay.
Yep.
And yeah, and there, I think it opens with somebody else though, not him, right? Like, so it opens with like a woman going through the same thing, and that's how like Mulder and Scully figure out about like the whole case or whatever, and then that's what brings them into it.
Yeah. And they kind of by default just get wrapped up in it because at this point they can't. They're not on the X-Files anymore. They've been reassigned, and Agent Jeffrey Spender, who's the son of the cigarette smoking man, and Diana Fowley are running the X-Files at this point.
And this was probably the first time I had ever seen Bryan Cranston as an actor, because I didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle.
No,
it was well before Breaking Bad. So I never knew who this guy was, and I thought, oh, this guy did a good job. And then when I see what he would go forward, I'm like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. So he did a good job, and I mean, I don't know what he had done before this, other than Malcolm in the Middle, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
other than I know, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say the majority of the male cast from X-Files is actually in Breaking Bad. You have Dean Norris, who's like the SWAT commander leader in season 2. Raymond Cruz is in season 4 in the Chupacabra episode. Of course, Bryan Cranston, season 6.
Well, it's Vince Gilligan in it, the same guy that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul in season 9. So I mean, that's just 4 people right there. I might be forgetting somebody else, but those are a lot of the main people that are in Breaking Bad. So
speaking of which, Vince Gilligan wrote this episode. He wrote Drive. So
yep,
it's really bizarre. He's the guy that wrote Breaking Bad in this shit too.
But he's like that guy. I remember that guy. I could see him as a crack dealer or something like.
Yeah.
Crazy how he got the job too. Like I think he wrote a spec script for season 2. I think it was the Tony Shalhoub episode.
Oh yeah.
He came in as a fan. Okay. Yeah, he was just a fan of the show like everybody else, and they love the screenplay. They're like, we got to get this guy on board.
All right, so after Drive comes another one that is fairly decent, but I don't know that it's one of my absolute favorites, but I remember it being really, really solid. Triangle. Now, this is the one I was talking about earlier that I got confused with another episode where Mulder goes on. They go on this ship that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. But when they get on board, like they get transported like back in time to like that period of time. So it's almost as if like it came kind of like an Event Horizon kind of situation. And so that was the gimmick of this episode, is like that they're all like back in the late 30s, you know. And so everybody's dressed, but they're all the same characters. So you've got like run-ins from and cameos from different characters from the show, but
they're
being
all
like
Nazis.
back in all Nazis and things like that.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it though. I thought that was a cool thing. I think it's been done before, and I'm trying to remember what show it might have been like Star Trek or some show like that did something similar.
I know the Twilight Zone movie had the thing with like I think it was Nazis or something.
There was a Star Trek episode where they land on a planet that was underdeveloped, and they had to wear like all this like gear, and they looked like Nazis, and so you had Kirk and Spock go fuck their dive.
Right.
The other thing about that episode is that's one where, because Chris Carter's directed it, they try to have as long of single takes as possible and not cut.
I remember that.
They were thinking the Alfred Hitchcock film Rope. So try to have like these 10 minutes or so and try to blend in so that make it look like it was all in one take, which I'm sure was a big challenge for such a rush of a TV episode of the film.
Well, in my mind's eye, when I think about that episode, that's what I think about it. These long kind of panning shots of like the inside of the ship and things like that too, which are all awesome. That's some of the first shots that you see when he goes on there. Like, and two, like when they follow people around, like, you know, all like One Cut from like Halloween, you know, they'll follow people for long periods of time around like the ship, like through the corridors and things like that, which are really cool kind of shots as well.
Yep.
Let's see what people are saying.
I remember like Gillian Anderson also like playing that character, like punches him in the face. He punches Mulder right in the face. I believe.
Yeah, she does.
But I bet he likes Stuntman Marq. Garrett,
what?
You losing your girl?
No,
oh God, what's going on? I didn't see that.
I bet he applied before. It is like,
shit. Oh no, dude, this is not good.
No, you can't cheat on Garrett. Like you can't.
So she
Garrett,
wants
you should have been on here. You lost.
She wants to show your P file. She says,
"Oh God!"
She wants you to solve that conspiracy, Mark. Oh God.
I'm not a FBI agent. I can't.
Yeah. Let's see here. Which one? Business Sphere wants to know. He's only seen a few episodes, but was there one where a chupacabra gets eaten by a Harlequin man or something to that effect? Harlequin man?
Yeah, what's he mean by that?
I'm not sure.
The only thing I can remember is at the end of Humbug when the guy ate the little thing and said, it must have been something I ate. But I don't know if that's the one he's thinking of, or I'm trying to think of another episode.
Hey, Alpha. Some new people coming in here, too. Mm-hmm. So, Bug Eye Betty says that she and Garrett are in an open relationship and he's a freak. Which, would that not be amazing if that was the case?
Oh, my God.
Try to picture that for a minute.
He can handle, he's a stuntman. That's what I call him stuntman for. He knows how to tussle. Do stunts all day.
No.
No. So then you got a two-parter up next just to distract from this Bug-Eye Betty shit, which I really liked. A lot of people don't like just because it combines like the mythology with like comedy, which a lot of people do not take kindly to in this series. Mm-hmm. But Dreamland 1 and 2, if you remember this one, Matt, too, like it had Michael McKean in it. Mm-hmm. And that was probably like one of the coolest parts of the episode is that it's got a body switch in it where Mulder ends up in Michael McKean, who's like a Man in Black kind of character, and Michael McKean ends up in him. Mm-hmm. And I really think the only reason they did this episode this way was just to have Mulder say shit to Scully that he would never like normally say for the fans' sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a pretty goofy set of episodes, but like I really like it. I gotta admit.
Yeah, I think it takes place Area 51, I believe.
Yeah,
it's like I think it's the only episode that really deals with Area 51 that I can think of. And I think originally they were going to have Gary Shandling instead of Michael McKean because Gary Shandling and David Duchovny were friends. Mm-hmm. And then Gary Shandling would be in the season 7 episode, I believe, Hollywood AD, I believe.
Yep.
As the Mulder in the movie. But yeah, Michael McKean makes that a lot of fun, and just how Mulder's trying to deal with all the Men in Black stuff and how things work around here, and now having a wife who thinks is always cheating on her or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now she was kind of an annoying character, by the way.
Yeah.
Trying to remember, she was from Saturday Night Live. I'm pretty sure, wasn't she? Like she was an old cast member. Oh, I can't remember that one.
She might have been.
Was it Nora?
Nora Dunn.
Or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
she was.
Yeah.
But I never cared for that character that much. Like,
I'm trying to remember, that was the person on SNL that got mad that Andrew Dice Clay was going to be on, and she like quit the show. It was her or someone like her. There's like,
I hope it was her because that definitely helped the show.
It was somewhere like that. Maybe someone in the chat knows, but anyway.
There's some good comedy in that episode, though. Just in terms of like the idea of them having to switch up, like you were saying, and like play different people's lives. And the thing that holds that together is that Michael McKean immediately just like wants to like hit on Scully, or like, you know what I mean, like wants to get with Scully. So he's in Mulder's body, and he wants and so watching that, which is really what people had wanted to see for a long time. But you're knowing it's not him really. It's just great in and of itself. It's a way to get around that problem, like where you don't, it's not actually happening, but you get to see it anyway.
Yeah. It's funny. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, you think Scully would know a little bit better because she's done this before with the guy with the tail.
Small potatoes.
Yeah.
If Mulder's trying to put the moves on you, know something's wrong. And I know you almost kiss, but it's always something wrong. Either a bee almost kills you or a small potato guy. That's right. Always be wary of that.
Yeah.
But go ahead. What were you going to say, Stun?
It's just funny, like that the two-parter. I think the comedy works. Like it didn't bother me at all. In a season where there's so much serious stuff, it was kind of a nice thing to see. I mean, them being able to pull it off on a show that is just really serious, you know. I like it. And then Michael McKean becomes a regular character as well.
Yeah,
like
that's
he
true.
comes, well, not a regular, I would say reoccurring. He comes back a little bit later in the show, and then he actually does become a regular character on the Lone Gunman spinoff show.
Bless that show. It never had a chance.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There is a really good.
Right. It was the same. It was the same girl, Nora Dunn.
Yeah,
same girl.
Was that the one that quit? Yeah.
Hey, today's plays on. He's mean.
Oh man, I love Andrew Dusk. That's a whole other story for another day, though. So those two episodes were, I thought, both really, really solid episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the one after those. I'm on the fence with this one. Like, I kind of like it. I kind of don't like it. I kind of feel like it's kind of, I don't know, just a lukewarm episode. But how the ghost stole Christmas is the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I agree.
That one is just a basic haunted house episode where they're stuck in this house, and I think it's Ed Asner and Lily Tomlin, right? That are the ghosts that are kind of like trapped in the house, and like, yeah, I mean, it's a standalone episode. It's got a lot of comedy elements to it because they're all comedians. So yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Mulder and Scully didn't seem like they had a whole lot to do. It was more of the other two co-stars episode, and
yeah,
they didn't like get to do anything, solve anything, change anything. Mm-hmm. They were just along for the ride, and they die, but they don't die because it's I don't remember what their plan was, just for the giggles, or just to.
I think they were trying to get them to kill each other or something like that.
Oh yeah,
so they'd be stuck there with them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a little bit more nefarious than I thought.
I don't remember like how they fought it off or how they escaped, or like it's a limited memory on that. Like it just didn't feel as if it was compared to the other episodes. It wasn't as memorably funny. It definitely wasn't meant to be scary. Mm-hmm. And Mona and Scully they're in it, but it felt like they were in the backward. Like they didn't have much to do in it. So yeah, I agree. I wasn't really big on that one.
They kind of do just go from room to room, and it's like just set piece after set piece, and then there's not a lot of real important dialogue or anything like that. It is very much played up just for laughs, and it's not that funny, honestly.
I don't remember it being, though.
Yeah, it's just okay. There's far worse in the series, but yeah, it's kind of forgettable.
So I didn't notice this question, but this is this is a pretty funny question.
Mm-hmm.
Which is worse? X-Files I Want to Believe or X-Files season 10 and 11?
10 and 11 for me. I answer in 0.0 seconds. Just as much as I hated the movie, that 5-year, it didn't happen. You had opportunity to bring this back, and instead you flush it down the damn toilet, and it just
like, God, man. That's
if you
tough.
did it well, it could have been. It could have been a lot of things. Just Chris Carr is a dumbass.
I'll say for me, probably. And the question was seasons 10 and 11 like combined or individually?
I guess yeah, it was 10 and 11 just together, I guess.
Okay. Jeez. I'll probably say the second movie. There's some solid standalone Monster of the Week episodes in seasons 10 and 11 that I could go back to, and I'd rather go back to those over watching the second movie.
Yeah, that movie was kind of fucking boring. Let's just be really honest.
I remember them on a boat. They're wrapped in a boat or something.
I don't remember. I would have to go back and watch that fucking movie.
I think that's like at the very end when they're done with everything.
That's all Matt remembers. He was like at the end. He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here." So he remembers that part. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So several people on here are saying
right.
though. Several people are saying that these streams make them want to watch the X-Files, which that's kind of the point. I'm hoping that that's what this does. Yeah.
Good. Go watch it. You'll have a good time.
Matt Cheshire mentions that he's never seen a single episode. Definitely give a few of them a chance. At the very least, Ice, Home, and like a few others.
There's a lot, man. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Watch our previous shows on this, and then I'm pretty sure we give a lot of really good ones that you should check out that are worth checking out. Anyway.
Business of Fear. How dare you mention Skinamarink? That gives a 0 on that. How boring it was. Any episode of X-Files is better than Skinamarink. The worst episode. It's not just he's a ceiling and here's a carpet. Wash your carpet. It's like the director didn't wash his ass. Fuck that movie.
Look, man, I'm not joking. There's some people legitimately right now saying that movie is like a masterpiece, like made by a genius that people just don't understand. And like in 10 years, it's going to be seen like fucking Rosemary's Baby or something, or like, I guess more like, Blair Witch.
What the fuck is it to understand? There's nothing in the fucking movie. For 100 minutes, it's a fucking. But I also have a guy fucking jerking off in the corner, off camera.
There's a camera down a hallway though, and then like Legos and shit get put back and then taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this shit called The Shining, which had lawn, and they actually had a story and fucking characters and steers, and it's something called a movie.
Yeah.
Not a wannabe
the
YouTube video
over.
that would get downvoted to shit.
Sorry. They take it over and it just lays on the ground and it's there for like 10 minutes.
I'm really, what makes me mad about that movie is that I wish that I would have thought to make that, because anybody could have made that movie.
Yeah, you'd be a millionaire right now.
Yeah, and it's just like anybody could have just fucking done that. Like I could right now take this webcam off here.
You should.
And just like take this cup and make it disappear off this table, and that was for like 30 minutes. You could just see the table, and that would be fucking same thing. Anyway, that has nothing to do.
I'm so mad. I'm pretty sure half of what I said wasn't English. Yeah, pretty much done.
Yeah, this is true business fear, bruh. You don't understand. That kid was in a coma. Yeah, they're saying like it's an allegory for like child abuse. They're saying like it's that they were dead. They're saying that the kid was in a coma. They're saying I don't give a shit.
That doesn't make the movie good.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Like whatever that they intended to do, like they failed with the execution of it. I know that.
Yeah.
God almighty. All right. This next one will probably be a bit controversial because I don't know y'all's feelings on it, but Terms of Endearment is the Bruce Campbell episode. If anybody remembers that one. And that's the one that kind of starts off with I think the woman is having a sonogram or ultrasound done or something like that. You find out that the baby has like horns and kind of prophesies to be like a Rosemary Baby type situation, or at least the husband thinks that anyway. And and that's the kind of the beginning of it. And the husband is Bruce Campbell.
He's a demon, and he wants a normal kid. And the thing at the end is that he meets a woman, but she's a demon, and she wants a demon kid. And this Bruce Campbell, he just killed or something. And I thought you don't have someone like Bruce Campbell. First, I thought it was kind of ironic that it was his show that people thought would be the big hit, and then you see the 60th episode.
Yeah.
With all the other episodes before and after, kind kind of ho-hum. I think it could have been. I mean, Bruce Campbell wasn't bad, but I guess I expected a bit better with an episode with him, and it's just kind of a middle of the road.
I'm going to tell you
lesser.
something right now, just about my feelings about Bruce Campbell. I've never liked Bruce Campbell in anything except Evil Dead.
Not even Maniac Cop?
No, not even Maniac Cop.
Really?
Like, I'm not a huge fan of Maniac Cop. Actually, the series in and of itself, I know.
Wow, that's surprising. Okay.
I'm just not. But Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., I never liked that show. I fucking hated Burn Notice when people liked that show. God damn. What was the there was something else. There's another show he was in too. Wasn't he in that Xena show?
Yeah, he was.
Yep. As the thief. Hercules and Xena as the thief.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like him in Spider-Man. He just had basic cameos and shit in Spider-Man though. Mm-hmm. I've just never seen anything else that I like. I don't like his. You got me on that one. Fuck.
Okay. I was going to say, like, there's got to be something.
Which one?
But that's not Bruce Campbell, though. He's playing Elvis, so that technically doesn't count. If it was just Bruce Campbell, like, just acting normally, like, but he's in, like, tons of makeup, and he's, like, Elvis. So it's just the idea of him doing Elvis that puts it over the edge. I will give you that, though. That's one performance that I actually did like him in.
I'll say for me on the episode, like, I think I like it so much just because of actually, I think it starts where his wife is having a nightmare, and then like the whole room's on fire, and it looks like she's in hell, and there's a demon who looks kind of cool, and which is Bruce Campbell, although she doesn't know that. She wakes up, and then she says like, "This demon's trying to steal my baby," and then like once he peels back the covers, like her whole stomach area is like full of blood. And we find out that the baby was stolen. Later, of course, we find out that Bruce Campbell took it because it was a demon and he's trying to have a normal kid.
Right.
So I think Mulder initially figures it out very quickly, like what's going on. And him and Bruce Campbell are at odds with each other pretty much the entire episode. Although neither one of them say it, but he keeps alluding to it. And Bruce Campbell keeps like playing it cool the whole time. So I just like that tandem in that whole episode. But other than that, like if you're not into that aspect of it, I could see how it's just kind of meh for some people.
And in there, at the end, you kind of find out like you said that she's a demon the whole time, and she actually framed him or something for the fact that like
he's got like multiple women that he's seeing.
Yeah.
And he's got multiple like relationships going on at once because he's trying to find the right woman that'll have a human child. And then he ends up finding another woman, but she's actually a demon. And then once she has the demon child that she's been wanting, she kills him.
Yeah. What's Bruce Campbell in Escape from LA? You like that, right? Are we really going to bring up Escape from LA? You really want to fucking go down that road? I don't think you do. No, I don't like anything about Escape from LA that I can even think of. Next, you'll be bringing up Ghosts of Mars and shit.
Dracula 3D.
So Bug-Eye Betty wants you to know, Mark, you can come to Pike County and peel her covers anytime. Oh, Jesus.
I've never been to the South, and I don't plan on going. Sorry.
Come on. It was in Pike County, Kentucky. You need to come down here. Let's see. A lot of people. This is great. Bruce Campbell Stole My Baby is an alternate title for the episode.
That's accurate.
See, not X-Files, but ever see Campbell in the movie Running Time. It was promoted that it was supposed to be one continuous shot. That was the whole running time of the film. I remember that because Synapse put it out, but I've never actually seen that film. So I cannot comment on that.
Real quick, like one film of Bruce Campbell I do like other than Evil Dead is I liked Moontrap. I liked Moontrap.
I've not seen Moontrap.
Yeah.
It stars Walter Koenig, the guy who plays Chekhov. I thought it was for a low budget, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. He's also in Sundown Vampire.
Ah, you motherfucker! Yeah, I actually like that movie too. Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
So you're making me reconsider the whole thing, because in that one he plays like this kind of like meek Van Helsing character, which is a great kind of turn on that too. And it's got Deborah Foreman in it, and I'm a huge Deborah Foreman mark. Like I like everything that she's ever done, even though she's like really super into yoga now, and that's all she does. But back in the day when she was actually like acting, she was really, really good.
And hey, in Waxwork 2, he gets his chest ripped out and he gets the shit kicked out of him. So if you don't like him, you enjoy seeing his chest ripped out, get the shit out for like 5 minutes with salt and shit.
That's a fair point. The next episode I really like though, and it's weird. Yeah. It's weird because the whole episode hinges on one person's performance, really, who does an amazing job, and that's Clayton Rohner, who like out of the fucking blue. You know, Clayton Rohner, I'm trying to remember, like, what would he be best known for? He was in Just One of the Guys.
Yeah.
He was
April Fool's Day, right?
April Fool's Day. There's other stuff. There's got to be something else big that he was in, but it's just escaping me. But anyway, he plays the Rain King guy, who's basically a snake oil salesman.
The Relic.
Relic, yeah.
He's like the other detective that's like partners with Tom Sizemore.
Yep, you're right.
Wasn't big, but he was in Destroyer with that cover with the guy with the drill, but it's a fucking scope on the
with a gun or whatever it looks like. Yeah,
loud or something.
But yeah, it's a partly comedic episode, really. Just because he's hilarious in it and the shit that he does. Oh yeah. So he's like I said, he's essentially like a snake oil salesman. So he is like this local celebrity who he's got the ability to control the weather, I think. And everybody just looks at him like he's like a goof. And he's kind of like, at this point in his life, he's making these weird like local TV commercials and things like that, and just kind of trying to play off like this little bit of fame that he has. And this town is desperately in need of rain, so they're all kind of like hooked into the fact that he's, you know, he can save them, and I think they're all giving him money and shit like that, and that's kind of the crutch of the story. And so really what you're trying to figure out is the guy really controlling the weather or not, you know?
Yeah. It appears that he is, but later on you find out that it's not the case.
Yeah.
It's kind of a clever little like switcheroo, because you start to buy into the fact that he might be doing this.
Yeah.
Even though he starts doing, what is it called? Like the rain dance or
the
something.
Rain dance, yeah.
And it looks so fucking stupid, but he makes it work. You're right. He's like the main reason why that episode works.
He's just really good in it. Yeah. Do you remember this one all, Rambo?
No.
It's just, yeah, I mean, it would be it's just kind of a standalone one that really didn't, other than his performance, doesn't have like a whole hell of a lot memorable in it. So I could see that. Yeah.
I have to rewatch that one. No, I know what you're talking about, but details, I can't remember anything. But I don't even know how it ended.
So it ends with
how did it end? Stuntman.
So,
I knew you know.
You find out that it's not him. It's somebody else that is like, I'll say, in like the same social circles that he's in.
Oh, okay.
So he has like a girlfriend, and there's a guy who is a weatherman actually, and he has the ability to, I won't say control the weather, more so affect the weather, because it's manipulated by his emotions. And because he can't have her, he starts to, you know, have all these different range of emotions, and that makes the weather go crazy, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they all figure it out. Of course, Mulder figures it out at the end.
Victoria Jackson. Isn't she the girlfriend? Yeah, she's from SNL. Yeah. A lot of SNL people in this show for some reason.
That's that LA cast, I guess.
Yeah. So let's see here. This is a couple questions here real quick. This is a good one. Has CK ever sat down since we started doing this show and hopping the streams and like watched the episodes like he said he would? No. And he probably never fucking will either. Old piece of trash.
It's like, how long has it been? Like, I mean, of course you guys have been friends forever, but like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've told him about the show back in the 90s even.
Well, we went and saw the damn movie together. Like, I mean,
he's still
13, 14 years ago now? Like, yeah. He's just not going to do it.
You guys are watching Home, right? Isn't there like a
Yeah. I told him today he needs to pick the fucking like date that we're doing that watch along and stop jacking around.
Yeah.
Let's see. Does he? Jackson says, does he own all 11 seasons? Hasn't opened any of them. I don't think he owns any. See, I don't think he hates the X-Files after. I just don't think he's ever took the time to watch any of it. Even though, like, I've tried a million times to get him to. Yeah, so Wild Wranglers got it right. So the next episode is SR 819. And so, and I remember this one kind of, and I don't know why, mostly because it's a Skinner episode, and I always really like the Skinner episodes because he had so few like standalone kind of episodes. So he's into boxing in this one. I'd forgotten about that until I went back and kind of like re-looked up some of these episodes. But yeah, after he's like into a practice kind of boxing match, he has like a dizzy spell. He ends up like passing out. He's taken to the hospital, and they basically, he receives a call that says he has 24 hours to live. And you come to find out, like, doesn't he start to like some sort of like, I don't know if it's the virus or whatever, but like veins and shit start coming out of him and everything or something to that effect?
He dies at the beginning of the episode. He flatlines, and then they go to like the show intro. Then when they come back and you already know that he has 24 hours to live, they start backwards. So they go from the beginning of the 24-hour period, right when he gets infected with, it's some sort of like nanotechnology that's been developed. And basically the person that's controlling the whole thing, you see him throughout the entire episode. He's wearing a disguise, and he's sort of like in the foreground, and then he's in the background. And if you blink, you'll miss him, but he's always there. And you kind of like, who the hell is that? But I mean, if you watch the show long enough, you obviously know it's Alex Krycek.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's basically his way of like controlling Skinner. Of course, at the behest of the cigarette smoking man. And yeah, he gets infected with these nanobots that sort of multiply and then like attack his cells and various organs and stuff. So it's really good though. It's I mean, I think it's like you said, it's mostly a Skinner episode, but
yeah,
you also have him pair up with Mulder most of the episode, and they're going around trying to knock on doors and find out who infected him, why they infected him, what all is going on. There's quite a few shootout scenes. There's chases. There's a whole big mystery the whole episode. Scully's sort of in the lab checking his blood, running all these tests, trying to figure it out. It's a really good episode. It's actually considered a mythology episode.
It's really weird though how, I mean, he was a really, really good actor, and he probably doesn't get any credit anymore at all now that show's off. But like, I mean, Mitch Pileggi was a really, really good actor.
Oh yeah, and an awesome dude too. I when I met him, he was.
Did you meet him?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he was so cool. I mean, that's probably, I met quite a few people, and he's probably been the nicest, coolest guy I've ever met. I think I might have told the story on here before. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I meet him, and then I go up to his table, and then we're just talking, and he's so like engaged in the conversation. Like he actually gets up from around the table, shakes my hand. And I actually, most of the conversation wasn't even about X-Files, because I mean, I know everything. But I talked to him about Shocker the whole time, and about Wes, because he worked with Wes more than just once on Shocker. He was in Vampire in Brooklyn and something else. But yeah, he was just so awesome. Yeah, talked about Shocker mostly, Shocker sequels and Wes.
I'm curious, like what? Not about Shocker. I mean, I love Shocker. Shocker's a great movie. What are y'all thoughts about Vampire in Brooklyn? You brought it up, man. I'm just asking.
Oh man, What'd you say, Rambo?
It's just shit.
Oh. I'm not gonna lie. I do kind of like it. I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but it's so bad it's good. I can't believe Wes Craven directed that.
I can't either.
It's so out there and bizarre and weird. I kind of do like it. It's ridiculous. It doesn't really work, but I like it. I don't know why.
Eddie Murphy is awful in that fucking movie, man. I mean, he's just the whole like his accent and just the whole thing is just awful. And then he's got that other guy that he doesn't he like have like a henchman that's like the comedy relief that he bites or something.
Kadeem Hardison.
Kadeem Hardison.
Yeah.
Kadeem Hardison.
Oh God.
I thought he was funnier than Eddie. Eddie wanted to do Candyman. He didn't get it, thank God. Because that would have been holy shit. And then he did Vampire in Brooklyn, and I'm sitting there going, I don't buy you as scary, dude. I don't buy you as a villain. I know you want to do something different, but goddamn, just like the accents and all the different, like you try and do the different characters, like the Reverend and the try to do his Coming to America shtick, and there's that boyfriend who is about as bland as a brick wall that's trying to be the hero.
Alan Payne.
Pain in my ass. He wasn't worth the fucking spit on the wall. I can't remember a damn thing that was just.
I could never defend it. So, yeah.
I have to go back and watch that again. It's been a long time, but I do remember like some of the scenes in that movie. Just it's awful. Scenes are. I don't know what the whole thing. You remember Landis though talking about around the time that Coming to America came out that he was like, because Landis worked with him super early on, and then we come back and worked with him in Coming to America, and he was like, at that point he just didn't he didn't want to be funny, like he wanted to be more serious, like he wanted
for Beverly Hills Cop 3. He didn't want to play the comedic. He wanted a more mature version of Axel Foley.
Yeah, and I think
Eddie Murphy tried to beat him up on Coming
to America. He choked him or something.
He has he has one of the most like horrendous quotes about John Landis I've ever heard. It's also funny and true. The Vic Morrow quote. Yes, man. Oh my God, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Vic Morrow would have a better chance to work with him again than me.
He would, yeah. I was like, God. But anyway, we're getting off track. Trying to bring us back. Let's bring us back around. So we got where was I? The next episode is which one is the next episode?
I think we did SR 819.
Okay. So is it Two Fathers, One Son? That's next.
I think there's one in between. But I mean, we could cover Two Fathers, One Son.
So that's the mythology episode with Cassandra Spender. And okay. So this actually like picks up, like you were saying, like with the syndicate and all that stuff, like the whole arc that was going on with the movie and whatnot too.
Yeah.
So you're definitely gonna have to take this one, Mark, because you're the mythology dude.
So with the start of the two-parter, you have it picking up and sort of ending the conspiracy, or I guess the shadow group government guys known as the syndicate, like that. By the end of the second episode, they're dead. So the way that all comes about is you have Jeffrey Spender sort of doing the dirty work of the cigarette smoking man, but he's not aware that like the aliens and all that stuff, he knows nothing about it. But eventually he is let in on it. And the task that he's given is to take out one of the alien rebels who's assumed the identity of the second elder, which is one of the syndicate members. Cigarette smoking man realizes this because in a meeting that that character, the second elder, he proposes. He says, "Let's join the rebels." Like, what about that? Like, we have a vaccine. Let's join the alien rebels. And of course, the alien rebels are opposed to the colonists. They don't want recolonization or repopulation to take place. And Cigarette Smoking Man's against this. He figures it out, has Spender go after him. But once Spender gets there, and I believe he also gives him a stiletto to kill the alien. And he tells Krychek, go with him, watch him, make sure he takes care of business. But when Spender gets there and he's supposed to do it, he can't. He can't fucking do it. He's so scared. And then like Krychek shows up as the alien rebel's about to kill him, and then Krychek does the job for him. And Spender just sits there. He's like, with a shocked look on his face, like, this is real. Everything Mulder has been saying is real. This is all happening. I can't believe aliens exist, and there's this whole conspiracy. Yeah. So he's just like in a catatonic state for a while, like just sitting there because he can't believe it. And Krychek, it goes on to explain everything that's going on, because he's been very much kept in the dark, while Cigarette Smoking Man's been using him to sort of facilitate Mulder and get him thrown out of the FBI and everything. Everything sort of comes to a head once you get to the next episode. And that's where you have the Syndicate going to El Rico Air Force Base. Once they get there, they think that they're going to start colonization, and they're going to turn over Cassandra Spender, who's played by Veronica Cartwright. And she's one of the first, I think she is the first successful alien human hybrid.
Yeah, I do remember that part. Yeah,
they've successfully done it. So they're like, okay, colonization can begin. But because the second elder had infiltrated them, he knew about the meeting. And there was another one of them that had infiltrated the group, another alien rebel. So he has all of them show up at the Air Force Base, and they all get burned up by the alien rebels all at once, including their families. Like, they're all there, so it's all over. It's all there. Of course, the Cigarette Smoking Man slips out the back.
Yeah.
Right when everybody's about to get burned up, Diana Fowley shows up in a car, and she whisks him away. And then, like the fucking coward he is, he can't bring himself to kill his wife, which is Cassandra Spender. So he leaves her there, and she ends up dying. And then, of course, Jeffrey Spender, the main person that he cares about, is his mother, which is Cassandra Spender. He's like totally, that's all he's known his entire life, because the Cigarette Smoking Man wasn't there. He's trying to show loyalty to him around this time, but that's where their relationship sort of sours. And then by the end of the episode, you have the Cigarette Smoking Man shoot Jeffrey Spender. So that's kind of the gist of it.
That's a hell of an arc, yeah, that happened.
I might have left a couple things out, but that's the gist of it mostly.
Is this the same Cigarette Smoking Man that got blown up in a cave in slow motion?
And then he comes back with a scar on his face.
He's got like a scar, yeah.
I mean, if you thought Dr. Loomis got it easy after Halloween 2, this ain't stuff. It just literally slow motion, smoking with his hippie hair.
He gets hit by a fucking missile. And he comes back. It's like, how? How does this happen?
Chris Carter, this boy. Fucking prick.
Yeah, Chris Carter.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see. Okay, so the next one is a standalone episode. I don't remember this one at all, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called, I'm going to butcher this, Aguamala, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. I didn't mind that one. That had the return of Darren McGavin as Arthur Dale, and pretty much as a hurricane. And there's this creature that's a little bit like tendril, but not really. But it's in the water and it's affecting these people in like this trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice seeing Darren McGavin again. I liked it taking place on a hurricane, so it made it feel a little bit different, unique during the situation. I can't remember the details on the monster. I don't know, there's something in the water. I don't know. I keep thinking of tendril or something like
it's
that.
Like
tentacle.
Yeah. And I think
When
like
did- Go ahead.
Mulder figures out that like it kind of is water. It's like some kind of
Hmm.
a organism within water, so it manipulates water, and then the tentacle is like sort of the physical manifestation of what it would be, sort of like an evil version of the abyss, although it's
That's
not
what
an
I kept
alien.
thinking when you were talking about it.
Yeah.
I can't put that comment up, but it's great. Okay.
I see it. Yeah.
Oh god.
I remember being a decent episode. I mean, it's not one I remember vividly, but I mean, it's not classic. But I thought it was at least a time waster, and
okay.
like to see Darren McGavin again.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been the last time he was on it, I believe, on the show.
I love these next two, though. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
so
Yeah.
the next episode is a Vince Gilligan and John Scheiben one that is Monday, which is basically the time loop episode.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody remembers this, so they're in like a time loop where they're trying to stop this bank robbery from happening, but like they get to one point in it, and every single time, like they get killed, it blows up, and then the day like starts over again, and they have to like go through the same shit again. So it's a Groundhog Day episode, but it's done really, really well. Like it sounds like it would be like a conventional type of like because you've seen that done before
Mm-hmm.
in movies and things like that, but like it's actually really, really well done too. I like that as a standalone too.
Yeah. I think Vince Gilligan said that everybody kept telling him like you're ripping off Groundhog Day. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm ripping off a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says that's a Twilight Zone episode. So yeah, either way, it's still good. I think everybody in it, even like the side characters, they're all good performances. Like the guy who has like the bomb strapped to him. He's very like manic, but it works. Even his girlfriend is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's
I'm
great.
trying to
in
remember
that.
who the girlfriend is in it. If it's somebody that I even know.
Because for those who don't know, the episode is pretty much told from her point of view, because she's the one that, while everybody forgets, she's the one that only remembers over and over again the girlfriend of the robber, the bomber. And I thought it was really cool, the repetition that Mulder does to solve it. Not really solve it, but to remember, as it's kind of cool to see him, how he clued into things and start figuring it out. And I'm a sucker for those time loop ones.
Yeah, me
it's
too.
always interesting to see. Was it they did like Happy Death Day did it, and a few other movies. There's even a decent action film for those who haven't seen it called Boss Level with Mel Gibson and Frank Grillo. That was pretty good. That had that same thing, time loop. So pretty cool motif. I thought they did pretty good. Yeah.
You remember too, like Mulder just keeps like saying like, because after a while he's trying to like remember like that it's what, so he keeps telling himself he's got a bomb, so he's like trying to remember it for the next day, and that's kind of like what eventually he's able to convince them that it's like in a loop. So I always like that one a lot. I've seen that episode like a million times, and I've also seen this next one a million times because this is kind of like I don't know, like fantasized version of what a lot of people wanted to see from the show, which was that Mulder and Scully get together and kind of live in like they live together. It's like this happy couple. But in this particular case, like this is the Arcadia episode I'm talking about, by the way. In this particular case, they're not like actually, together or anything like that. They're just like undercover trying to investigate the disappearance of this couple who live in this seemingly like really super nice gated community where they're really, really strict about shit like, that your grass is cut properly and yada, 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 like everything's a certain way. But you come to find out later on in the episode, there's a reason why like they are this way. Like everything has to be a certain way, because if not, then a giant fucking trash monster thing comes up and like kills somebody, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I just love that episode because like it plays on that what you would want to see. Like they're a couple, but they're not really a couple, but they're like they're forced to act that way in front of people, and it's hilarious some of the stuff that comes out of that too.
Yeah, them pretending to be an undercover, or pretending to be a couple, but they're undercover. It works really well. It's, I mean, obviously they have a great chemistry, but like you said, I think that's something that the fans kind of wanted to see in a way, at least by that point.
Yeah. So a lot of this too, like you noticed, was just like them trying to figure out ways to get Mulder and Scully together without actually getting them together, because I think they knew on some level that if they really got them together, that it would just fucking, because it always does, just kind of like destroy a show like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun. Well, I mean, it did ultimately.
Yeah,
sadly,
I mean that's what I was thinking. I mean, in a way, like it did. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you guys. This is pretty entertaining because what was it? Mulder says, "Woman, come back here and make me a sandwich."
That is the episode. Yeah.
I also like the whole idea of it's been done before, but I like the idea of the very strict neighborhood. So he's like trying to just put like all these weird decorations just to piss them off on purpose, like on the mailbox or something. And that was a fun one too. Like I said, it did well mix in the comedy as well as the mystery of what was going on in this environment. And the two actors looked like they were having fun, or two leads.
Yeah, I mean it was really good overall, just solid episode. I'm looking at this. I don't remember this. I'm not even positive I've ever seen this fucking episode. So the next one is called Alpha, which is about an Asian dog that's thought to be extinct. That's blamed for several killings.
You remember Wolfen?
Yes, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's as shitty as that movie.
God, that's pretty bad then. Yeah.
At least Wolfen was in the city. This is just like Mulder. This is woman who's like I don't know, stuntman knows.
There's like a woman she's like in love with animals or something. I think she's like an animal expert. I think with canine breeds and stuff like that specifically. And you have Andrew Robinson as well from Hellraiser.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But he's like a creature essentially, or not necessarily a creature, but like a dog. But like it says Asian dog, but I think in the episode they call it something specifically. I can't remember what it is. But he sort of morphs back and forth between that and human form, and then he's going around committing all these murders. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
She is a fucking boring ass movie.
Yeah, I don't like Wolfen either, and yeah, this one it's not great at all. I think the first time you see it, you might be a little intrigued, but I don't know how much replay value this one has.
The thing is called a Wansheng Dole.
That's it. That's what it is.
I had to look it up. Okay, so the next one, no, I do remember. The next one is some of these writers though I'm not familiar with, but this one is called Trevor, and
that one's really good.
Yeah, so this is the one that takes place in the prison, right? Or like starts off in the prison.
Yeah, like the first couple of minutes, the intro is at a prison, and then he escapes. He's caught in like a storm cloud, and the storm cloud gives him the ability to pass through solid matter. So when people try to shoot him, like the bullets just go right through. And when he walks through walls, he sort of he changes the matter. Like it's sort of like on a
It becomes weaker bristles
yeah,
after he's passed through it. Except
exactly.
glass. He can't go through glass.
That's what it is. He can't go through glass. And then he also uses that to kill people too. So if like he touches you or punches at you or something, it'll also change the composition like of
That's what
your
they find, like a body where the whole face has been caved in. I remember that. Like imagine like the whole face, like this is completely gone and indented, and like just take a huge chunk out of the face. I remember that being like, ooh, that's a really graphic moment. I remember that was a standout.
Yeah.
I also remember the guy who played the villain. He was the bad guy in the first Angel movie. John Deal. He was also the dumb guy in Stripes that would banter with John Candy. I thought there was a draft or stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty memorable. I mean, most of the episode you have him running around saying, "I want what's mine," and you're thinking that he's talking about some money that he did from an old heist or something like that, and it's actually not what he's talking about. He's talking about his kid. And I think Tuesday Night is also in this episode. And I think she plays the sister of Catherine Dent, and they're trying to protect the kid because they know he's broken out and they know that he's after him. But he's literally not a good guy. He's a total piece of shit. So they're sort of running from him, and then there's like a final showdown. And I think Mulder conceptualizes, well, if we can't shoot him, we have to come up with another way to kill him because he's not going to stop. And I think he uses rubber bullets or something like that because that sort of bounces off of him, but it won't kill him. And I think in the end, Catherine Dent, she hits him with a car. And once she hits him with the car, of course, the lower half of his body, it goes through it screws up the engine and everything. But once the glass hits his midsection, it cuts him in half. So it's a really cool and interesting episode. Definitely one worth checking out.
Oh God, I forgot about this one. And I remember this like just because of the Scully angle in it. So the next one is the next one.
Milagro.
I think, is Milagro. Which this is the one. There might have been another one too where Scully was like, yeah, there was. Okay, so there was one too, and I can't remember the name. I think we already talked about it, where Scully is like entranced by these guy who does tattoos and shit like that, and like
Jodie Foster voice,
the Jodie Foster voice
from the Never Again episode from season 4.
So that's one of those where she's like entranced by like a random stranger, which happens quite a bit in this fucking thing.
It's not all right for Mulder to do anything, but she can do whatever.
Right, she can do whatever she wants. So this is the one where like the guy's a writer, and he's writing like stories about. I'm trying to remember exactly what the hell that they were about, but
I think it's like a murder mystery novel or something. Okay. Like that. Yeah, she just finds herself drawn to him.
And for some reason, like that's the part of this episode that I remember the most is like she's like, he's the mystery guy that she's drawn to, which happens a bunch in this fucking series. Just random dudes that she like is just kind of drawn to, and
it's never anybody good. She likes the bad boys for some reason.
I guess maybe that's just the plot piece, like to keep the episode going. Like she's got to be drawn to these people.
But I remember that one. I'm like, why? Like, why are you drawn to this guy? Like, why? It just. I recognize the guy. For those who've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, the owner of the shop who gets shot up, Pete Bottoms or whatever, is George Clooney and Tarantino shoot the hell out of him at the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn. That's the guy who plays the writer, and she's a woman. She wants the D.
Jesus, it's hardcore.
Well, I'm sure she wants the D. Pay for it then. Be like safer than fucking. Going to some writer you don't know.
Yeah. Not one of my favorites.
Well, no, since I can't remember anything else about it except for the Scully part of it. It can't be that great. So let's see. Next is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really great one. It's the Unnatural episode, which is the one about the baseball player. It takes place in the 40s, I think, is the baseball player who turns out to be actually like an alien who's like this amazing baseball player, and that's really like all it wants to do is fucking play baseball. But it's an actual alien.
Mm-hmm.
And what a great idea. And the way that it opens and everything is amazing too. And like you get to see that. So I guess the idea behind it is like some of the huge baseball players that you knew like from that time period were actually aliens, and that's why they were so amazing at it and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just it's kind of a comedy, but it's also kind of like a social piece as well, like commenting on that as well.
Yeah. It has Brian Thompson in it as well.
Yeah.
The alien bounty hunter.
Yeah. Who's great in all these.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is known because this is the one that David Duchovny wrote and directed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
wrote he did. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think Darren McGavin at this point, this is when he had his stroke, so that he couldn't come back. Otherwise, it would have been him. So, Emmett Walsh from Missing in Action and all sorts of stuff, he comes in to tell this story. And it's a heartfelt story. It's a nice heartfelt between what you find out as an alien and human, the bond. I mean, I don't like baseball, but I thought I worked well with baseball in that, because it was more the heart of it, the passion of it, and I thought it also has one of the more effective endings, as simple as is Mulder and Scully playing the baseball together. I thought that was a very nice shot to end it, where they're hitting balls out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really sweet. Sweet episode.
And I think the alien bounty hunter actually like takes the shape of like a KKK
member
or something in this, which there's all kinds of subtext to that shit. So they covered a lot in this one episode. Marlo says that it's his favorite episode of the entire series.
Wow.
It's a solid fucking episode.
It is, and there's some pretty interesting and fun dialogue too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not really any flaws in it.
All right. So the next one looks like, this is a great one too. Shit. Three of a Kind, which is the standalone gunman episode, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Where that takes place in, isn't it like Las Vegas?
Las Vegas. Yeah.
And this is a great episode just because like it takes all the pieces of like what the show is about and puts it in like one episode in terms of like the political kind of stuff that happens in it, and the fact that the lone gunmen are in this spot and all this stuff is happening, like that they all like kind of know about the conspiracies and stuff. Plus, like it really gives them a chance to shine in their own episode.
Yeah.
By this point,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say by this point they had kind of become like as popular as anybody else on the show, I think.
I want to say, don't you think it was a bit weird that they killed them off? I thought it was a bit weird that I know a lot of people die on the show, but when they killed the lone gunman, I thought, well, that's a bit, I don't know, strange. That's a bit.
Vince Gilligan didn't like the idea either. That's why that episode is called "Jump the Shark," because he thought that's exactly what they were doing.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yes, he had no say in it. It's like, I wonder whose idea was it. It's like
Carter, probably. I blame everything on him.
Probably. Blame Carter. There you go. That's a t-shirt. Blame Carter. It's his fault. But the episode itself, I mean, like I said, the lone gunmen definitely, all three had good chemistry with each other, so it made the episodes fun with that they were involved with. And I can see why they wanted to do a show with them on it. It's just, pretty much it would always be compared, and even if it's a halfway decent, just would never get up to par. I don't know. Seems like anything else Chris Carter didn't find as much success as X-Files.
Unfortunately, I think that they were just kind of like destined. Like they worked really well as like side characters that you saw in bits and pieces throughout like the show. But they just maybe later on, like they could have done a better job of fleshing out the characters and stuff. I don't think those three characters could have like held a show together. Well, they didn't, but I mean, like you were saying, like before, Mark, that's not really their fault. It's more just like really horrible timing. Like, but even then, I'm not sure if that, because if I remember correctly, wasn't it like the first episode of that show got like a huge rating, and then the second episode like shit the bed, like in terms of the rating?
Sounds about right. Yeah,
like
it probably did.
Like,
I think it did slowly decline. Like in the first season wasn't anywhere near what Fox wanted it to be ratings wise. So yeah, they just pulled the plug pretty quickly on that.
Yeah,
and they should have. It was the timing. Like they should have launched that back like around when they launched Millennium. Honestly, that would have been the time to do it. And I think Millennium only failed because it's kind of funny for me to say as we've been talking shit about Carter the whole time.
that's true.
But his vision of the show was for it to be, like I said before, like Seven. And it does have that feel. If you watch that first season, it's really dark. It's raining all the time. It's got that really dark, awesome atmosphere. But he leaves for season 2, and I believe it's Glenn Morgan and James Wong taking over. And they said their thing was like they thought the show was too dark. And I'm like, really? That's the fucking point. Like, why? Mm-hmm. So they opted to go in a different direction and add more comedy and not have it be as serious for season 2. And by that time, that's when ratings started to dip and interest started to dip as well. They leave, and then Carter comes back in for season 3 to set it back on track. But by then, it's too late. So there you go.
Such a shame.
Yeah. 3 of a Kind's great, though.
Yeah, and you know what the plot device is in that? I'd kind of forgotten that until I looked it up. So the thing that keeps it moving is a mind control drug. Mm-hmm. Like that's the whole thing. Like there's some sort of assassination plot where they're trying to use a mind control drug, which is classic fucking conspiracy stuff. So it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael McKean has a cameo in that one too. It was the same character, but he hits on Scully when she's like at the casino. No, she's at the bar near the casino, and she's like, I think she's been infected with the drug or something, and like she's actually drunk. Yeah, and every guy wants to hit on her.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, that's so true back then, though. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah. I mean,
now she's like a skeletal British woman now, but back then, like she's like Madonna now. For God's sake, what the fuck? Except less plastic surgery. What the fuck happened to Madonna? By the way, can we just take a brief moment to talk about that shit?
Drugs.
Like what the hell, man? Her face looks like I can't even.
She's an alien.
She looks like a fucking alien. That was like a real like X-Files episode. Anyway, Field Trip is next, which is another one of my favorites. We talked about this one like somewhat before because a lot of people were trying to remember the name of this episode, but this is the one where they get stuck in like kind of like a cave thing where they're surrounded by this fungus that makes them like hallucinate and think that they're actually still like out walking around and shit, but they're stuck there the entire time, which is great. Like I love the whole idea behind that episode.
Yeah.
So that's
pretty trippy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually one more thing with 3 of a Kind. In that episode, you also have Suzanne Modeski come back.
Yeah.
Which you first see her in I think it's The Unusual Suspects, which is the origin, how the lone gunmen meet Mulder episode. I believe that's season 5.
Yeah, and the whole part of that was that they went to this convention hoping that they would see her there or something, right? Like, or she was supposed to be there.
asks Byers
Mhm.
for his help, and then he drags the other lone gunman along, and
Yeah.
they, like, go on this whole thing. And her husband is like leading this whole thing, the assassination plot thing. But yeah, she comes back, I think, in season 9. She's part of the reason for their demise in a way. In that
Yeah.
shark
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Women.
Typical shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, Field Trip.
Field Trip's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing. The hallucination sequences are great. Mulder has sort of his dream come true with showing Scully an alien gray that he's captured. But we come to find out that's not really the case. Yeah. I think Scully has her worst fear, which is Mulder being dead or something like that. And then it's like a funeral being held, but she doesn't believe it. And I think somehow they keep like figuring out each time they have their hallucination, they figure out that they're still underground.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good twist as well, because you think they escape and then Mulder shoots Skinner and then there's stuff oozing out and then they're still in there. I thought
that's how you kind of know. Yeah.
I didn't expect that when I first saw it, because I think I saw it when it premiered. This is the time I was watching the show each week, and I thought that was a good twist on it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they find 2 skeletons. I think one of them's played by Alan McBeal. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a good episode, Field Trip. It's a good.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of my favorites of the season. It was unique enough. Hallucinogens type of stuff.
And then the last one's Biogenesis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which, by the way, I'm just going to tell you right now, we've been doing this for 2 hours. There ain't no way in hell we're getting to season 7 tonight. Because that would take like another hour and a half. So I didn't realize season 6 had that many fucking episodes in it, man. But there's like 22 in that season alone. So yeah, we'll close out season 6 here though.
Mm-hmm.
So Biogenesis, wrap it up for us, Mark, because this is the mythology like wraparound episode. So take us home.
Yeah, it revolves around.
It
revolves around an alien artifact, which they believe is a fragment from a piece of an alien spacecraft that's semi-buried in the sand and off the coast of the ocean. Like it's, I think it's Africa. And this is the first, this episode is part 1 of a 3-parter. And then in the beginning of season 7, you have the 6th extinction, part 1 and part 2. But even though this one's called Biogenesis, it is like it says to be continued, I believe, at the end or something like that. So yeah, it's just about the artifact. Of course, you have Krychek running around, as always, being in the middle of things. He's manipulating Skinner. Mulder is affected by the artifact, not the artifact itself, actually, because they don't have it. They have like a rubbing of it that's been taken, and they're investigating the rubbing. And at this point, I believe they are back on the X-Files because Spender does everything he can before he gets shot to convince Kirsch, who's a complete shithead. You guys remember Kirsch, right?
Yeah.
He convinces Kirsch to put them back on the X-Files after the entire syndicate and all those people are burned in the airbase. So,
and Mulder's affected because of the black oil he had years before that was in him, or
I always thought that might have had something to do with it, but they never really explain exactly how it's affecting him. You know what it does, like the result of it affecting him. But
like, why is it affecting him? Like,
they never really go into detail because I thought the same thing back then. Okay. But if you remember, him and Krychek were both infected with the black oil in season 4, and they were both given the vaccine. But it never affects Krychek in the episode, only Mulder. And it gives Mulder sort of a... I know.
Fucking Krychek.
I love Krychek. How can you not love Krychek though?
He's
such a fucking smug prick. Like, but
he is.
It's awesome though. He gets away with everything. He's in the middle of
Uncle
everything.
Bill's like, he sucked on my pressure.
So I think this may be the last season overall that does really, really well. I think shit starts to fall off in season 7 in terms of just overall viewership and things like that. And once like Duchovny and Anderson decide that they want less and less to do with the show, and by season 8, that's when things really start to kind of shit the bed too. Although I kind of agree with you though, Mark, that season 8 is like a really, really underrated and good season. And had they like gone and had more time to flesh it out, I think it would have been just as good as before, but they just didn't. They didn't.
They have a lot of great, interesting ideas. I think the mythology stuff in season 7 is probably some of the weakest to me. It's setting up more stuff that's comes to play more in season 9 and not so much season 8. Season 8 sort of backtracks a little bit and goes back to the black oil stuff. But then that's sort of the definitive end of that. And I'm pretty sure, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we never see black oil again after season 8. We also, that's the only season of the X-Files where the cigarette smoking man is not in it. Because in season 7, Krychek, and I think it's Maria Covarrubias, try to kill him, and he is presumed dead. But of course, he never
of course
dies.
he's presumed fucking dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did they ever show that kid, the Gibson kid, the chess kid?
He's in the first episode of season 1. I mean, sorry, not season 1. The first episode of season 6, and then he comes back.
No, I mean like
season
after
8.
this.
Yeah, he's in
season 8. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Of course, didn't come back in the revival. Like most of them didn't come back because that's how much it sucked.
So, Mark, you've got to answer this question because Afrowell's asked it several different times. What microphone are you using? He wants to know.
I have the box somewhere around here. I'm not sure of the exact name of it, but I got it on Amazon. Like it's actually not even that expensive. I will next time we come on, I'll find it and I'll post the link to it.
Oh, something funny. Me and Mark were talking the other night. He had a background of Stream Factory, and a couple people thought it was real. It was real background. It's like, why are those Stream Factories? It's not. It's a green screen.
Yeah, no,
it's better than some of the movies today.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, oh, which Street Factory ones are those? I'm like, I have them, but they're not. This is real.
Yeah. No, I told them, I was like, that's not too far off from what my actual collection looks like. It's just where I have like my PC set up and all this stuff. It's all in like my living room area, and all my collection stuff is in a completely different room. So, yeah, that's why I opt for the green screen.
There's a lot of people that have like that kind of Screen Factory setup, to be honest. In terms of like they collect every bit of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. So next time I guess we do season 7, 8, and try to do 9. I don't know. Like there's gotta be a way to do that, yeah. To get through those. But there's a lot of episodes in these seasons, so it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
So okay. Real quick before we get off here, though, from season 6, if you had to rank like your top 3 episodes, what would they be?
You go ahead, Rambo.
Let me think for a minute. You can go ahead. Let me think. It's like you guys said, there's a lot of good ones, and it's like, do I want to leave that
out? Well, I mean, if I had to do mythology episodes, I'll do it that way. Top 3 mythology episodes. I mean, there's only 5 in this season.
Yeah.
Top 3 would be the beginning, and then 2 fathers, 1 son.
I know that Arcadia is one of my top 3.
Mm-hmm. Probably for me too. Monday for me.
Monday is a great one, and probably The Unnatural.
Yeah, the Unnatural.
I'll go with 1 Arcadia, 2 Monday, 3 Field Trip. Because I like
Trip. Yeah, I fucking hate leaving that one out. Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be
I go with those 3.
That would like be my top 5 then. If I could add 2 more, it would be Field Trip and then I guess Trevor as Monster of the Week episodes. Yeah. Even though I love Drive, but
Drive's good too. Yeah, it's hard to pick. You got 22 episodes to pick from, so I mean to narrow it down to 3 is tough.
Yeah.
But all right, so next week I guess we'll try to do Friday, same time, 10 o'clock. And we'll try to get through these seasons, man. But this has been great. Appreciate Mark being on here. Appreciate Rambo being on here. Of course, check them both out. Like Rambo's shit. He'll have 10 things released by the time I get done talking.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
Mark, what do you got going on, man?
I'm actually uploading a video right after we get off here.
Good. What's the video?
It's an unboxing.
Is it something you got from somebody else, or is it something you just got?
No, it's a Vinegar Syndrome unboxing.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Yep. Well, I appreciate you guys, man. And as far as our shit goes, I don't even know anymore. Like, I'm trying to think of what the next show would be. I think the next show, we got a Scream Factory show coming up, which would be year 6, I'm pretty sure. Like,
okay.
And then I'm trying to remember.
You have like a horror like poster, like love.
That's
thing,
it.
Like Valentine's
That's the other one. Yes, thank you. You know this shit better than I do, Rim. Like that's actually the next show that's coming up. Yeah, is a horror poster show that Garrett, me, and CK are doing. So I'm still trying to figure out how the hell they think that we're going to do this show, because like horror posters are not something you can just be like on a webcam and just. Here's the
yeah.
So I'm guessing that we'll take pictures of a lot of this stuff, and somehow or another that'll be presented in it. But a lot of it'll be talking about like collecting posters and like what some of our favorites are in the collections and stuff like that too. So you know that freaking Garrett's got an insane collection of stuff in terms of posters, so to CK, and I've got a modest collection of stuff at this point. So we'll see how that all goes. But yeah. Tune into that. Did you say it was the 9th? I don't even know.
I thought it was.
It's the 8th or the 9th. I can't remember.
Is the home episode that you guys doing, the watch along, is that going to be live, or is like that going to be something you guys premiere? Or
he's going to do it live. I know how it is. So we'll figure out a way to do that live too.
Live watch along. That'll be fun.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to have to give him my DVD copy of that, and fucking not unless he's got Hulu. It's on Hulu, isn't it? Like that's the
I think
streaming.
So.
Yeah, okay. All right, but until then, I guess I appreciate it, Mark. I appreciate it, Rambo. And we are out of here until next Friday as soon as I can find the outro. See you guys.
See you.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butts.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do or
I
don't.
want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey everyone, it's Oak Early Jaws. We got some great shirts for you. We got Faces of Death Part 2. We got Creepy Stories to Tell in Kentucky. The Colonel Would Approve. We also got DeadPit.com. We got Dead Pit Radio with the little fucking Dead Pit dude on there. We got It Never Ends, a Halloween spook parody of the new movie. We got It at Night. We got the Rat Pack, Uncle Rat himself. It just gets better and better, so go on and get you some shirts over at Team Public. It just gets better and better, boss.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Deadpitonpatreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.